Good morning, amazings. We get to choose whether we live in survival or we live on purpose. And although I've heard this many, many times in my life, I never understood it. I thought what we did was just, what we were doing was just living. But it's not. Most of the time, it's just surviving. We don't think about what tomorrow is going to bring. We just do the same thing over and over and over again. We don't have a plan. We don't think about what we would like to accomplish. We don't put goals in place. We think we are not enough or not good enough or not worthy, or we don't celebrate ourselves, even our small wins. We don't, even our birthdays, we don't celebrate. We don't acknowledge all the good we've done in a day, let alone a week, month, or year. How far we've come in our own growth. Most of the time, we don't even think about healing or that we can even heal. We just continue down the same path, down the same road, over and over and over again. Every night we go to sleep, every morning we wake up, and we're complaining about what was. We're complaining about what's happening right now. We're complaining about what isn't happening right now. We're looking at what doesn't come to us instead of what does come to us, instead of the goodness that's happening all around us, but we've got ourselves so programmed to not even look at it. You can change your life. You can become the best you. You can create anything you want to create. It's all up to you. You deserve to live this life. It doesn't even matter how old you are. It can be in your 20s, it can be younger, it can be in your 30s, you can be younger, you can be older, you can be 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, I don't care, 90, 100. You get to choose how you're going to live your life. You can either live it on purpose or survive it. Sounds like a good book name. You get to choose all of it. Now, sometimes it'll seem like you can't choose it all, or that you don't know how to choose it all. And I mean, that obviously we all have to figure it out. One of the things that I always told my kids was, it's your life. It is your life. Figure it out. You got this. And it is. Like, I don't care if they're babies. Okay, I didn't say when they were babies. I didn't let them do stuff that was dangerous. But as they get older, you can't force them to do anything. You can try, and then you're ending up with a kid who probably isn't wanting to do it anyways and running away, and you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different ways to parent, and there is no right way. There's so many ways to live a life, and there is no one right way. You're gonna do it, and you're gonna make mistakes. But if you survive, if you're just living in survival, you're gonna make mistakes too, except you don't have you to fall back on. That's the hardest part. I know, because I survived for so many years, and it was crazy. I allowed myself to get into so many bad situations. I allowed people to manipulate me a lot. And I'm saying allowed because I didn't know that's what I was doing. Didn't like purposely allow it, but it was my choice, because it is our choice, who we're allowing into our circle, who we're allowing into our life, who we're allowing into our realm of reality, right? And we choose to, without even knowing, allow these people to manipulate us, to abuse us, to hurt us, to create so much drama in our life. And when they're out of our life, things seem a little bit better. Or we go into the next cycle of somebody else coming into our life and creating even more drama, more stress, more abuse, more manipulation, more. And that's where I went until I didn't. And then I just kind of, well, I woke up one day and my old dog, I had her for 15 years. And she was my first dog that I had once I moved out of my parents' house. So she was like mine and Clary's dog. She ended up being everybody's dog, but that was the first, like, that was really hard on me because she was my little baby, right? And she was just a little dog. But when I woke up one day and Matt was having massive seizures. I was in a very unhealthy relationship. I remember it so well. We were having real bad, I was working overtime, there was real bad forest fires. And I just woke up and realized that I was surviving. I didn't want to survive anymore. I wanted to heal. I'd gone through so much already. Like, I already knew, like, I didn't get the whole manipulation thing. I just thought that in certain relationships, you just kind of accept people and you have to have them in your life because of, and all these rules and all these silly things. I don't even know where I got them from. But you get, like, for me, I got like stuck, right? And I was in lots of unhealthy relationships, but one of them was my marriage, my first marriage. And I just woke up one day and said, I don't want to live like this anymore. I had put on a lot of weight. I wasn't healthy. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna heal me, and maybe through the process of healing me, then I'll heal everybody else, and I'll figure out why I'm in this bad relationships, right? Maybe I can help make it better. So I knew he wasn't happy either. So maybe if I healed, then I could help him. You know, the people pleaser, the empaths, the I want to fix everything. I want to fix everybody. And it took me a long time to realize that I couldn't fix everybody, and I could only fix me. So, but once I started down that path, I didn't want to stop. I wanted to keep healing. I wanted to keep learning to be me. I wanted to keep creating. And when I put my little girl down and our other older dog, who we rescued, she was a Petrie, and she was a little miniature or teacup Chihuahua, and she was so cute. She was old too. She was in her 20s, but we had her for a few years. So it was time to let them go, and that was really hard. And grieving does some interesting things. So as I was grieving, I was peeling off layers, and when my ex said something, I knew that was it. We were done. It was over. And a big fuffle happened, and I was like, no, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I just want to be happy. My goal in life back then was just to be happy, be at peace and harmony. I just always wanted peace and harmony. I didn't realize that it came from within me. So then I started down the growth, like that was the time area that I've started down my own growth process. And I remember being in the hospital with Matt one time and looking at he was completely at it. He had so many seizures, and I had to take time off work and stay with him and at the hospital. And I just remember looking out on the street at the hospital that he was in, And it was nighttime and it was black and the lights were, and I was just looking and thinking I was so alone, that nobody could understand how I felt. I was torn between staying home and taking care of my son and having to go to work and take care of all the bills and stuff. I couldn't figure out how to do it all. And I was torn between not being at peace. And I was torn that I couldn't help him any more than I could at the moment. And at the same time, I felt this like love, compassion, oneness. Like as I looked out on the street, I just remember being okay and knowing everything is going to work out. And so I just kept down my path of healing, of growing, of learning. I write about this part in Life with Matt. But I just keep growing and learning, and end up, me and my ex didn't make it, and the other relationships kind of fell apart, and it ended up just being me and my kids. And we ended up moving from where we lived, which I really loved where we lived, but I just couldn't stay there. So we had to move so that I could get my independence, get me back on track, find out who I am again. So I did, and I went and I grew, and I grew. I moved down to the coast, and we lived in this little house, and I started getting different types of jobs, but different things happened in my life. We met Mike before I moved down, and we had a relationship, him and I. And that's who I am married to now, Mike. And he's helped me so much with so many different things. But it doesn't mean that I don't heal me, right? I don't need anybody to heal me. I need to heal me, right? And there was a lot I had to go through on my own before I could even accept that I was worthy of a really good relationship. Before I could accept that what other people do is none of my business. Let them do whatever it is, and you stay with your goal. And let me tell you, I had to learn that the hard way. I had put myself in, so I was busy taking care of, my mom took care of my Aunt Mary, and my Aunt Mary was in her 80s, in her late 80s, and my mom took care of her, but my mom fell and broke her shoulder, so she couldn't take care of her, so I took over. And through that process of taking care of her, I was in the process now of writing the book Life with Matt, and I was creating this really great space where we lived. It was up in the forest. It was so amazing. I just loved it. And it was so wonderful for me to be able to go on this process. Like, I would take her, so there would be times I was by myself. I would take all my books with me. I'd have 3 hours to write. I'd stay there because it was better than coming home, and in case she needed me, I had to be close. And then I would take her home and come home, and it was really great to get that writing done on Life with Matt. And so I was starting the process of, but I was still missing how important I was in my own life. I was still doing everything for everybody because I couldn't say no, because I couldn't ask for help, because I couldn't, I didn't realize my own worth, didn't realize I was enough. I still didn't become my own best friend. Don't get me wrong, I loved helping my aunt. I loved being there for, so that was in the winter time, and then by spring and early summer, she passed away. So I got to spend all that time with her, connecting with her and having fun with her and laughing and enjoying the time we had together. Grief does such crazy things. In the process of my aunt passing away, I went through a lot of different things, including still writing Life with Matt. But there was a lot of, I was helping my parents. Like, it took a long time. She went into hospice, and my parents stayed with her. And watching that process of her passing away, it took a long time. Too long. Too long. And my parents stayed there the whole time. And in that time, I would go every day, twice, 3 times a day, not only to visit with them, but to take them food. That was a long process. And my mom said to me once that there's a lot waiting for me in heaven because of all I do for them. And I said, Mom, I'm enjoying it now. It's happening right now. Every moment of my life, I was at peace. I was finally in harmony, loving what I did, but I was still forgetting the importance of me. And here I am all teary-eyed. But as I walked out that door that time, there was a white dove on the wires above me. And I thought, oh man, how amazing is that, right? Like looking at this dove above me, as my mom said I would be taken care of in heaven. And I know it's happening right here, right now, as long as I remember who I am. And there it is, a dove, white as can be, beautiful as can be. It was so amazing. I'll keep that memory forever. But my aunt passed away, and silly little emotional, I never knew how to handle my emotions. And I'm an empath, so I feel everybody's emotions. And I never knew how to turn it off, or I never knew how to, not that I want to turn it off, but I never knew how to, I never learned, I was never taught how to be okay with other people's emotions, like to determine the difference between. I just absorbed. I absorbed everything. And through that process, we were having issues with our place we lived. Our landlord was coming over all the time, and he was putting the house up for sale, and there was like just one thing after another with that. So we decided, and he was just dumping stuff at our property. Well, on our property too, but we didn't have a big area, and it just got smaller and smaller. Loved the area, but for our own mental health, for the kids' mental health, and for us to be able to do anything, we needed a change. We didn't want the house to go up for sale every 5 friggin' months, but it was. So, and if it's not your house, you don't get to say. So we moved, and in the process of moving, it was great at first, amazing. Then something happened, and a little more happened, and a little more happened, and I started realizing, we put our little dog down. That was another thing I forgot just before we moved. So all this, my aunt passed away. We kept getting people coming over for our house being put up for sale, and they weren't supposed to do an open house, but then he tried to do an open house, the realtor. It was really hard dealing with realtors when they don't care and they just want a sale. And that was what was selling, was trying to sell the house. It never did sell. It still hasn't sold. But anyways, so we put our little dog down. He had epilepsy since he was 6 years old. He was now 12, and he ended up having heart failure. And so, although there was medication I could put on him, like put him on for his heart, I thought it was so hard for him with the seizures, and to have a heart issue on top of that was pretty hard. So, moved to this place, stress of my aunt, stress of my puppy, but I started walking every single day for over an hour, and it was great. I thought it was amazing. So my mom and I started doing that. We did some wonderful things, but there was this emotional, silly thing in my head that was happening, and I don't know where it came from, and I don't know why, but I had to really go through it, and I began to fall. We did, Mike, Loki, my mom, we did the grouse grind, which is a really steep grind up a mountain, really high up a mountain, and it was really cool. It took us a while because my mom was in her 70s, and I had to stay with her, but we did it. We made it to the top. It was one of her goals, and we did it, and I was so grateful. And when you start to feel insecure about something, you don't realize your worth, it gets harder and harder. And I had to go through a lot. So I was feeling really depressed because I had forgotten who I was again. Whew, look at my eyes. And I, instead of choosing to remember, I published Matt's book, but I didn't do the way I should have done it. I didn't. I should have done a book promotion thing, but I was so scared. I was not wanting to publish it. I wanted to publish it. I wanted to give it what it should have been given, but I was so scared to be me. I was so scared to have people see me. I was so scared to have people judge me. Ugh. I chose to publish it quickly and quietly. My husband was the one who was so friggin' excited about it. And rightfully so. It took me a long time to kick my butt to where I wanted to be. But I'm going to tell you something. I had to go through a lot to get there. I felt depressed. I felt unlovable. It's like the weirdest thing, because I did not become my own best friend. I lost everything I thought I was doing. Not really lost it, but I put it in a closet and I hid it, because feeling bad, feeling scared, feeling not enough, feeling unworthy, feeling all those things were so in survival. That was survival. That was not living. I forgot how to live. So I ended up getting a puppy. As you heard. She's not a puppy anymore. And she was the toughest, most... I don't even know what to say. She gave me a run for my money, that's for sure. And I couldn't figure out how to talk to her, let alone train her. And of course, it didn't help that nobody was listening to me on how to train her. But she was like, there was something wrong from the time we got her. She was scared, and she was afraid of like all different things. She's a Shepherd Lab mix, and she came from a farm. I should know better than to get a puppy from a farm, because I worked at animal shelter, I know. But anyways, and then one night I was so frustrated, and like I said, I had lost who I was, and I wasn't being who I wanted to be, and I had to go through all this because I needed to really find out where, who, and what I was. So I ended up being frustrated and not paying attention to me and smashed my knee in the side of a wall, the edge of the wall, and that sticks out. And in that process, I created so much pain, trauma, drama inside my own body. I didn't want to move forward, I guess. So I created stillness in my body. And that is where I would stay for years. It took me months before I could walk without crutches. It took me months before I could walk. Well, it took me, months before I could walk with crutches. I laid flat on my back in pain with no painkillers because I can't take them. In pain. Doctors took x-rays. There was no x-ray issue. I didn't realize where I had put the pain. I didn't realize where, or I put the injury. I didn't realize where it was coming from. I just knew that I smashed my knee and my hip hurt, my knee hurt, and I didn't realize that it wasn't even those issues, and neither did the doctor, and nothing was really done about it. And I slowly healed, and even though I tried to get all this stuff done, it took so long to heal. And then I had to go back to, oh yeah, right, it's about me and not everybody else. So I spun myself all the way down this rabbit hole of complaints and misery, and I lived there. I survived there. I did everything I could so that I was not depressed. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was sad. I was hardly ever joyful. I was hardly ever fun. I was hardly ever me. But I tried this coat on. I didn't forgive. I just wanted to be miserable. And misery loves company. And I tried to bring everybody with me. I did. I tried to bring everybody with me. And some came and complained with me. And some didn't, because they knew me. And one day, as I'm complaining about me, because that's my favorite topic to complain about, because I know better, I've done better, I've healed myself before. Why am I not able to do this? I've created money before. Why am I not able to do this? I created happiness before. Why am I not able to do this? I just complain about me. I'm unworthy. I'm not enough. Such lies I told myself. Such lies I told everybody. And my husband said, Mike said to me, and it was one of the biggest wake-up calls for me, because if somebody tells you this, you need to pay attention. And he said, you know, I think you are the hardest on yourself. And I was looking at myself in the mirror, because I was doing mirror work, but not the proper mirror work. I had forgotten all about mirror work. I forgot all about what you say comes back to you. I forgot all about the healing that I had done before. I had forgot all about the love. Oh my gosh, love. And I just looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I'm the hardest on me? Yeah, I am. I've forgotten who I am? Yep. I can be better? Yep. But that person said, nope, has nothing to do with them. But that person did, nope, has nothing to do with them. You get to be whoever you want to be. You get to create. In that process of going through all that stuff, I was writing a book. I was creating this book but my computer died. So I couldn't continue with it. I was writing it down. I printed it out. So I had the manuscript. My computer died, so I couldn't keep it. It was saved on my computer, but it actually died. So I couldn't do anything with it. And it was just going to be called The Best You. Because it was helping me figure out how to be the best me. Because everybody needs to know how to be the best them. And I realized I needed to go back so I got a computer, and I realized that I found my manuscript, and I was like, not really a manuscript, but the first part of because I write it on paper with a pen or pencil. Then I type it up on the computer. Then I print it out so I can read it, edit, do all that. And that's where I was at. And I went back, I grabbed it, and I started working on it. And I started realizing I am the hardest on myself. I need to be more my best friend than my worst enemy. I need to be okay with who I am than to, even if I'm fallen, even if I'm completely in mud. You know, when I was going through my transformation, my ex and I had already split up, and my mom had come for a visit, and I took her for a walk in a trail. My mom and I always had the craziest of times. But I went for this trail walk, and my mom had, she had a Robbie, and I had Toby, which were brothers. They were brothers, and from the same litter from my dog that the first dog I passed away that I had told you about, Bootsy. That was her boys, and she got to live with Toby he would have been. She was 2 when she had them, I think. So she would have been, or he would have been 14. No, she was 15, so 13. He lived till he was 17, so that was pretty cool. We had him a long time. He was such an awesome dog. Robbie lived till he was 16, so that was pretty cool too. Mom passed away at 15, Robbie was 16, and then Toby was 17. That was pretty awesome. But we went through this trail and there was this big mud, and I'm like, well, we could just walk over these logs. So I walk over the logs, showing her. Of course, our dogs we can't let them off leash because they are spaniels, and they love, love, love to go chase. And no matter what I did for training wise, couldn't get it. Actually, Rose could be Toby. Just kidding. She had a lot of issues, but he was such a happy-go-lucky dog, and they would chase, but I would be able to go faster because I was younger and my mom was a little older, obviously, right? So she ended up slipping and falling in mud, and she's wearing white, and we just kill ourselves laughing, just kill ourselves laughing at ourselves, right? And I had forgotten to be okay with falling into the mud. I had forgotten that it was okay to be me. I'd forgotten that I don't have to be perfect. I'd forgotten that I don't have to take care of everything and everybody. I don't have to take care of anybody but me and my kids, obviously. But their emotions, their issues with a barky dog, or their issues with not cleaning the house, or their issues with needing something, that's on them, right? Their emotions are theirs, and I forgot to turn that off. I forgot that, not turn it off, but I forgot to just not absorb it. And I heard that once. Observe, don't absorb. And I kept it. I also heard let them, which is so powerful for me, especially right now, because there's so much going on in my own growth that I'm just learning more and more. I get to choose who I want to be in every moment, and I get to choose whether I'm going to be okay with me or not. I don't need to care who isn't okay with me. I don't need to worry about them as long as I have my own back. As long as I'm pushing me forward to the next day, as long as I'm pushing me to be the better me, as long as I'm pushing me to be who I want to be. So the manuscript, or the book that I'm writing, I put it back on my new computer. I started working on it. And I started working on another book at the same time. And that one will be out later this year. The one coming out will be out in September. I'm so excited. I'm so excited that I'm this far ahead. It's taking a long time for me to get to where I am, learning what I'm learning and becoming who I'm becoming. I used to take everything so personally. If somebody didn't like me, that was such a big deal for me. I am likable. Why don't they like me? Oh, maybe because you don't like yourself. Oh, why don't I like myself? Why don't I feel like I'm worthy? Why don't I feel like I'm enough? Why am I not seeing who I really am? Why am I the hardest on myself? Good questions. You get to choose you. You get to choose all of you. You get to choose who you want to be in every moment. You get to choose your perceptions, your realities, your truth. You get to choose everything about your life, and we don't get told that. We don't get taught that at all. And the biggest thing, you get to love you unconditionally, and you deserve it. You are enough just the way you are. It doesn't matter what you've accomplished. Your certifications, all that stuff doesn't even matter. It doesn't. It has nothing to do with you. The only thing that has to do with you is that you are okay with who you are in every moment. You get to choose you. Choose the best you. That is coming out in September, and I'm so excited. As you go about your day today, think about that. Just keep thinking about that. Are you being hard on yourself? Are you creating so much drama for yourself? Or are you living in this life in every moment? Are you surviving or living? Because that's what's up to you. All of it is up to you. Choose the best. Choose you. I love you.